We are not in Colorado anymore. I just hopped off a flight from Denver to Indianapolis. I'm out here for the Indy 500, and while I was at the airport, I snapped some photos of a piece of luggage that I just got yesterday and I decided to bring on this trip with me. When I landed here in Indianapolis, I had about 20 of you sending me DMs saying, hey, make a full review of that thing. So we're gonna do that right here from my hotel room. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Talon and I make new videos every single week. So if you are into outdoor adventure and traveling, and in this case gear, then consider clicking subscribe. This is a complete impromptu video. I typically like to test out gear a little bit more before I bring you guys a video on it. But like I said in the beginning, I got a lot of DMs since I got off my flight and everyone wants to know all about this thing right here. I got this new piece of luggage yesterday afternoon. I immediately packed it with gear and then I went to the airport this morning at about 6 a.m. I wasn't even 10 steps into the airport. I was about to get into the TSA pre-check line and I had a woman in front of me turn around and say, hey, what is that thing? Where'd you get it? She started asking me a bunch of questions about it and I didn't even really know how to answer. With all of the luggage options out there on the market, this thing really caught my attention, which is why I decided that I wanted to try it out, but apparently it grabs other people's attention too. And I think a lot of that has to do with the design and especially the name. So this is a brand new carry-on size traveling suitcase from Pelican. This is a brand new line that they just launched not too long ago. And I actually saw this first last weekend at Overland Expo down in Flagstaff, Arizona. So this right here is the ATX 22. And originally I thought that 22 was about the capacity size, but it's actually about the height of the bag. They have 3 different suitcases in this line, the 22, the 25, and the 30, and I opted for this one because I hate checking bags. I try to travel as light as possible whenever I am traveling by air. And for the most part, I just pack a bunch of stuff in backpacks, including camera gear, clothing, toiletries, and whatever else I might be bringing on my trip. This one really stood out to me because it is almost identical to the 1535, at least in the size department. So it's coming in at 22 inches tall by 14 wide and about 9 inches deep. And that of course makes it the perfect carry-on size. I was able to throw this up ahead above my seat and I had absolutely zero issues. Now there's a lot of cool features on this, and before we really get into this, just know that Pelican is not like a cheap budget brand. They are known for strength, reliability, durability, they have a great warranty, and they're all made in the USA. So something like this is not going to be for everyone, but I like it, and apparently some of you guys are interested in it, so that's why I'm bringing you this video. Let's first take a look at some of the exterior features. For the ATX 22 carry-on, this thing is built with Pelican's proprietary HPX polymer resin, and that means that this carry-on size suitcase is going to be crush-proof, dust-proof, waterproof, and everything that you would expect from a Pelican product. Another feature that they stress on is that almost all of the components of this bag are completely field replaceable. If you break a handle, maybe a latch, maybe a wheel, you should be able to replace that no matter where you are. It does have 360-degree wheels on here, these little spinny wheels, and they are ultra smooth and silent, so rolling this through the airport is really nice. You don't have to tilt it up on an angle. When you're going through a tight little aircraft with seats that have you all claustrophobic, you can just have this thing standing upright and roll it right down the aisle. No issues, so I like that feature. I'm gonna drop this thing down to the ground quick. By the way, this thing weighs about 12 pounds, 12.9 pounds, I believe is what they advertise. On the back here, you will see the automatic pressure release valve. So of course you can fly with this thing and it's not going to collapse on itself or explode. And then you have a multi-stage handle extension here. So you can put this thing out at a bunch of different levels. I like keeping it on one of the lower levels, but if you are a tall person, it can come up pretty dang high. It's coming up to about my belly button right here. Lowest level for me, that's nice and comfortable right there. And then we also have 2 more grab handles on here, and this is something that I kind of wish the air cases had, but it's like a soft close. They're kind of spring loaded and they're not going to slam shut. So really easy to grab onto and pick up from either the side or the top, and they don't just slam closed. And then coming down to the front of the case before we get onto the inside, we do have TSA latches on here. You push and pull to get those things open. You can set the combination to whatever you want that to be. There's a little button on the underside here, so you press that in, spin the dial until you are at your combination that you want, release that, and then lock it up. Now let's pop this thing open and take a look at the inside of the case. 30 liters of storage inside of here, and it lays completely flat. Now, since I'm only out here for a few days, I really only ended up packing half of this case, and I chose to do the back side right here because of this compression sleeve right here. I was able to pack 4 to 5 days worth of clothing in here and then cinch down these straps, and I basically had everything only on this side. And then my idea was to use this zipper compartment over here as sort of like dirty laundry kind of storage area. On the zipper side of the bag, you do have 3 more compartments here, so this would be good for toiletries if you got deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that, and then even a really small zipper compartment right here, which I would probably put maybe an air tag in here. If you're worried about losing your carry-on bag, just a small little extra compartment there for whatever you may need. Now, if we look at the construction of this thing, it is constructed just like basically every Pelican case that I'm familiar with. You have this really cool red gasket that runs all the way around the outside, which again keeps out water and dust, and the entire thing is crush proof. Is it overkill for a carry-on bag? Yeah, I would say for most people, but if you are into high-end gear that's going to last you a lifetime and something that's made here in the United States, then something like this might be right up your alley. For the liner on the inside here, they're using 100% recycled 420D ripstop poly. And when I was talking to the guys at Pelican, all of this stuff is actually replaceable. So if you wanted to remove this liner, maybe you cut it or burn it, maybe you get something on it that just won't come out, you could actually completely replace these liners. And if you wanted to, I think you could just remove it entirely and then use some of their Mod Pack accessories to make this bag into whatever you want. In the new Pelican travel line, they have a ton of accessories, and some of them I'm actually pretty interested in. They have things for cameras and other kinds of equipment that I use on a regular basis. So you could take sort of a blank canvas like this and pack it with different things. So maybe I wanted a bunch of clothing over here and then camera accessories behind the flap over here. That's something that you can do. Again, I just received this thing yesterday, so I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to use it, but like I said, I tend to travel light, and this thing happens to be pretty much the perfect size for me. I could easily pack 7 days of clothing in here with some toiletries, maybe even like a pair of sneakers, and I think I would be just fine with 30 liters. That being said though, if you are a heavier packer and you need to bring a lot more gear with you, then maybe you would want to bump up to the 25 or even the 30. Now, when comparing the ATX 22 versus other carry-on size luggage, one thing that came to mind was 30 liters. It's not like the max of what you could fit into a overhead compartment carry-on size piece of luggage. I've seen some out there that are like 40, 45, maybe even 50 liters. But when you're going to a bag that holds more capacity liter-wise, then you're probably going to jeopardize the actual structural integrity of it. But at the end of the day, this is plenty enough space for me, and I know that all of my clothing and everything that I have in here is going to be insanely well protected. Again, probably overkill, maybe a little bit too protected for what I travel with. And since I've only been using this for not even 24 hours now, I can't really speak to the reliability and the durability of it, but since it's coming from Pelican and I have so much experience with their other cases, I think this thing is going to outlast me. I will probably end up using the ATX 22 for a majority of my travel from here on out, especially when it comes to flying. Maybe I could throw this into my truck and keep things sealed. So with all of that being said, this case is coming in at $500. And that's why I prefaced it in the beginning saying, hey, if you're not into like rugged, high quality, expensive gear, then this probably isn't the video for you. Spending $500 on a piece of carry-on luggage is definitely not going to be for everyone. However, if you're like me, you like really nice gear that's going to last a very long time, maybe possibly even outlast your own life, then I think a Pelican case like this could be a good choice. The ATX line comes in a bunch of different colors. This is the gray colorway. They have black and then I believe tan and almost like a white color. And I can't even really think about anything else to talk about, but you guys wanted a review, so those are my thoughts on this brand new travel case coming from Pelican. If you guys have any questions on it, let me know in the comments down below. I'll try to post some more photos, maybe some videos over on Instagram. And there's a good chance that you will see this in some travel videos in the future. So I'll leave some relevant links down in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. And that's all that I have for today. So if you're new to this channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.